Welcome back to the Independent Republic of Mike Graham right here on TalkTV. It is good to be back, and there's plenty to go at this morning, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, so have no fear. There are plenty of opinions coming your way, and we want to hear from loads of you as well. We'll come to you in a moment. Let me just address the NHS problem, because, of course, I predicted all the way through the Royal College of Nursing dispute that it was being operated and run from the very centre by what can only be described as a group of sort of, you know, socialists, trade union activists and people who really just wanted to make a political point and hope to bring down the government as a result. Pat Cullen, who is the chief of the Royal College of Nursing, actually made a recommendation to her members who had gone on strike numerous times throughout the course of the last year or so. She made a recommendation for them to accept a pay offer from the government. They rejected it, and she then went back to the government and said, no, that's not good enough. The flip-floppery that went on was quite extraordinary. But, of course, what we knew all the way through the NHS nursing dispute was that an awful lot of nurses didn't go on strike. An awful lot of very good nurses in an awful lot of very good health authorities just didn't vote to go on strike at all. So there were plenty of places, and I've had many of you get in touch with me and tell me where those places are. I'm not going to list them, but we all know what we're talking about here. An awful lot of health authorities, an awful lot of nurses did not take one iota of time off, did not strike, because they are people who care about their patients. They are people who care about the national health, not just the National Health Service, but the actual national health of the nation. They want people to get better. They are in the job because they are compassionate. They are in the job because they want to be in the job. They enjoy what they do. Yes, at times it might be hard, but what they are not are these people dancing up and down on a picket line, shouting and screaming and smiling and singing songs. Because guess what? Most of those people on the picket lines were not actually proper nurses. They were people in various different management roles. There were people in different roles up and down the nursing system. Many of them not actually frontline nurses at all. So the nurses have seen sense, because the commonsensical nurse in this country realises that actually going on strike is counterproductive. People don't like it. It takes you away from what you do. It takes you away from your serving of the nation. And that's what you're supposed to be doing. Doctors, on the other hand, are a different kettle of fish, because we now have up to 24,000 doctors who call themselves junior doctors but are actually rather senior, many of them on payment on average of £128,000 a year. They're going to go on strike for 48 hours in July, and you're not going to tell me that that is not going to have a terrible, terrible toll on the NHS system, on the backlogs of those systems and on the health of the nation. Right? Matthew Taylor, Chief Executive of the NHS Confederation, says this will be a huge blow to the service. Leaders will be putting plans in place to make sure life-saving critical care continues. This will be uncharted territory for a post-pandemic NHS. Well, I'll tell you what's uncharted about it is doctors who supposedly sign a Hippocratic oath, first do no harm, are actually breaking that oath. Because how can you tell me that by going out on strike you're not harming the population, that you're not harming people who need help, that you're not harming people waiting for operations, that you're not harming people who need to be diagnosed with cancer? How can you go on strike? It's a despicable, disgraceful political move by the British Medical Association, which is no better than some kind of Stalinist, left-wing, socialist reinvention campaign. The nurses came to their senses. The doctors appear to have lost theirs altogether. And I think the government has to stand firm and say, no, you're not getting any more money. Your average pay is 128 grand. Get off your high horse and get back to work. It's that simple.